now that you've had a few hours to reflect and obviously sleep on the results of everything that happened last night? Where are you right now with everything?
Yeah, good. It was, last night we felt was a major step for us as a club. It was very exciting and a very proud moment to be able to introduce so many new players to the club and let them understand what the club's about and what our ambitions are for the club and what it is for them on their own journey. So that was exciting, and having the conversations with everybody ahead of time was something that reinforced for us the decision-making process.
Okay, all right, we'll get to questions. I guess we've got Meg is up first.
Obviously, a lot of news around the picks. I heard that your pick for Portland until yesterday was going to be French. Just wondering if you could maybe talk us through the decision to go for both of their rights.
Hi, Meg. To us, it was in the last 2 months, 3 months, we had every type of rumour and every type of threat that you could have imagined. And it was only last week that we got the surprise to see that, they left these players unprotected. To us, Christian Press and Tobin Heath, the history that they have in this league, the quality that they bring to the field as players is something that we just couldn't look beyond. They had the options to protect them. We value them very highly, and we think that they can do such phenomenal things within this league. So for us, it became a little bit of a no-brainer. We were shocked that they were there and available, and how valuable and how much experience and success that they've had within their own respective careers is something that we thought would be a tremendous addition.
Thank you.
Hey, Dan, go ahead.
Hey, Christine, thanks for your time again. Just following up on Press and Heath and also with the Australian players from Orlando, are those players that you were able to speak to before picking them in the draft, and do you have a sense about what their mentality and time frame might be? Because it seems like with all four, probably you won't see them at the earliest until after the Olympics.
I got to speak to a few of them, which was good, and then with others we went through their agents. Because each of them have big games coming up this weekend. And I was able to present to them what it is that we see as a club we can do, what we can offer them and what we feel they can offer us and what we can collectively do together. And from our end, we feel that that's the most important thing. We do feel there's an alignment in terms of their world-class abilities and our world-class ambitions. And then when we'll get to see them, that's still yet to be determined. The one I spoke specifically with was Caitlin Ford, and she's happy where she is right now, and we're very much aware of that. And we're not going to disrupt her time at Arsenal. Her success is important to us, but we also feel that when the time is right to get Caitlin to America, we'll have those conversations, and we'd be excited to see her on the field in Louisville.
Thank you.
Hi, Christy. This is Jackie with Woman Kickballs. I was just wondering, looking at your Houston Dash picks, you have Aaron Simon and CC Kaiser, and so I was just curious to know if their performance at the Challenge Cup impacted your decision making in this process as you were just looking at players across the board.
Hi, Jackie. Yeah, I think obviously the Challenge Cup for everybody that got to play in it definitely was a contributing factor within the decision-making process. I've been fortunate enough to work with both players in the past, and I had a little bit of an insight in terms of what it is I feel that they could offer the club, both as players and as people, and that gave me a great deal of confidence in terms of the decision making. So we're excited to have both of them here. I spoke to both of them yesterday, and they were very excited too. So that reinforced what we were trying to do.
Hi, Christy, Stefan from All for 11. Appreciate you doing so much media in such a short span recently. I know there's probably not a super amount of info that you can give us specifically, but now that you've got your picks, I was wondering how your future moves with the trade window opening, who you have, college draft coming up, if you would be willing to give us even like a general blueprint of what you guys, like what phase of planning you guys are in now, and your goals are at the moment.
Hi, Steph. Yeah, I think there's a long road ahead of us. We feel that we've laid a really good foundation. I think we're sitting at 17 players now within the club, and we obviously have the number one pick, the fifth, and our natural picks from that point forwards. So as we sit down and look at the layout of the team, both from a tactical standpoint but also a personality standpoint, we feel that there's still some work to do, and it's important for us to strike a balance. So we're definitely in the middle of conversations with various different clubs, both internally in America and internationally, in order to try and get the final pieces of what we feel would be a successful jigsaw for next year.
Hi, Christy. This is Sandra from CBS Sports. I wanted to get your perspective on the process to select Jennifer Cujo out of Sky Blue FC. She was really kind of a player who had a bit of a standout season in what could be considered a cluster of seasons within 2020. What did you see out of her performance, and how do you sort of see her fitting into to your roster?
Hi, Sandra. For me, obviously she's come into the league a little bit of a relative unknown. I was fortunate, I spoke to the people that she tried out with at Boston in previous years. I think when you look at her game, you see the ball winning ability in the middle of the field, her ability to break up the opposition's attack. She's actually, I feel, quite valuable in possession. She works well in tight spaces and can connect the back line with the attack. So from that standpoint, I think she's got a lot to offer on the field. You also look at, we can't look beyond the story, the hunger and the desire to really embrace this entire experience of being a professional soccer player and contribute to the overall goal of the team. And for us, that's priceless. And we see we see her as a really important piece of what we're trying to do.
And just to follow up, I had mentioned and asked the other day about like what your general pitch would be for players, prospective players coming into Louisville, and having gone through the expansion draft now, do you feel like you have a good selection of players who have perhaps bought into that pitch?
Yeah, I think yesterday, well, not just yesterday, sorry, in the days leading up to this, as we fine-tuned some of the decisions that we were making, I felt it was very important to me to speak to the players personally. And some players I sat on the phone for 2 hours, and because I wanted to hear their input, I wanted to hear their opinion, and I wanted to ensure that they understand that this is not just about Racing Louisville, this is about them too. And for some players as well, the younger players, it was important to me to speak with their families and let them know that what we're doing here is not just about us. This is the collective ambition of the club, of the city, and it's genuine. I think one of the supporters said it last night, this is a family approach, and we want to remain true to that.
All right, thanks so much, Christy.
No
Congrats
problem.
on filling out the roster.
Thank you so much.
Hi. This is Grant Mays, ESPN, Christy. Going back to the Heath and Press for just a second, I'm curious, as you try and put together kind of a short-term and a long-term plan for building a team, building a franchise, is there a timeline by which you need to hear from them or know kind of what their plans are?
Hey, Graham. I think the most important thing here is communication, and that started 2 weeks ago. We made it around 2 weeks ago. Last week, we made it clear once we understood that they were unprotected. We'd spoken to their agents, and also dealing with US Soccer and making sure that there's alignment in terms of what is needed for the players. Ultimately, the most important thing here is that we do right by the club and we do right by the players. We're not. We take no pride in doing something that is only advantageous to us. So. Yeah, the timeline will be clarified through communication with the players, with their agents, and also with US Soccer.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
Hi, Christy, Dan Moletta again. Can you just comment quickly on the goalkeepers that you selected? It seems like you might have left some better goalkeepers on the board. Was that circumstantial as to what those teams had besides the goalkeepers, and then also specific to Katie Lund, who most of us are maybe not as familiar with. What can you tell us about Katie?
Yeah, I think circumstantial, but I would also say that we're very happy. They were the players that we targeted, or the players that we ended up going for, and we were fortunate with the information that we had on them. And as you said, I think a lot of people, if we don't know something, we still try to make our own conclusions. For us, we did our homework on Katie. We objectively built out information and subjectively, and we felt very secure in that selection. And then also with Michelle, I mean, she's been around the league for a long time. She's contributed both on and off the field and to the growth of the game, but she can also, as a teammate and as a goalkeeper, she's absolutely first class. So, I think when we look at it, what was available to us and what we got, we feel very, very confident in those selections.
Okay, appreciate it.
No problem.
Hi, this is Grant Wiedenfeld with Keeper Notes. Coach, I was going to ask if you could speak about the specific fit of a couple players, what position you see them in for Louisville. I'm thinking of Addison Merrick, Lauren Millay, and Cece Kaiser, and other as players who have been in different positions. Where do you see them fitting for Louisville?
Hey, Graham, thank you. One of the first things I did with the players once we introduced ourselves and we had a conversation, if I didn't have a prior existing relationship with them, was I asked them two questions. I said, what is your favourite position, and what position do you feel you're most effective? And then from that point, make sure that there's alignment in terms of what I thought as well. So for me, Addison Merrick she's flexible. She's played on a back three with Carolina and as a right back with Carolina, and you look at the education she would have got within that club, from the coaching staff with Paul, with Scott, and so on, to the players that she was learning under. That's very valuable to us. So we would look to replicate that. With Lauren as well, same education, working beside and underneath people like Crystal Dunn, Davinia, Sam Hughes, Denise O'Sullivan, and again, Paul guiding her. It's absolutely huge for us, and I think with her, there's the flexibility. She can, I think, a lot of us would have seen her play as a 10 in the Challenge Cup, but I feel that some of the attributes that she has might see her better suited as an 8 and also comfortable playing as a 6. And then with Cece Kaiser, Cece, I think, made her name through the college game at Old Miss as a 9 and a goal scoring 9. I think she's best served maybe working between the lines a little bit, whether it's as a false 9, whether it's as an 8 or a 10. Or on some occasions where we've used her in the past with the youth national team, coming in off the wing. But I think the consistent theme would be that we see a huge amount of flexibility in these players, and they would suit various different systems for us. That's both defensively and offensively.